Neo has no personality. And I know when I say that, you're going to think of one thing, and it's Keanu Reeves. But again, it has more to do with the actual writing. So, what do we know about Neo? I mean, nothing really. Like, what do we know about his likes and dislikes? Like, what does he like to read? What does he do in his leisure time? Does he have a life outside of work? I mean, we do know that he has a life in the form of hacking, but, we don't know his feelings towards it. We see some characters who he probably has met before, but, like, we don't see them interact very often. Like, we don't know anything about his social life. Does he like the thrill of fighting agents? Is he an ass man or a boob guy? We know that he hates the concept of destiny. But why? Was he bullied a lot at school? Was he abused in any way? Well, let me ask you this too. Why does Morpheus believe Neo is the one? Just like we don't know exactly why Neo and Trinity like each other so much. It's just there. Morpheus believes Neo is the one because that's we wouldn't have a story without that. I mean, did Neo do anything? Neo didn't do anything to make, at least to us, Neo didn't do anything to make Morpheus suspect him of being the one. And I think that's a huge misstep. Like, the first movie should have had some kind of incident where Neo goes about his daily life and maybe he's able to, like, control something, or he, like, screws someone up, like in a fight or something, or, like, does something impossible pretty much. And then that puts him on the radar of Morpheus. And that would have made a lot more sense. Like, how the Matrix movie should have began, the very first one? Here's how I think it should have begun. The first action sequence was really cool, and also it's like, you're gonna change that's gonna be different. But no, you can still have your fun, awesomely directed action sequence in the beginning and still have something more logical. Here's what they should have done.
Let's say Neo is hacking from home. The police find him and storm his building. In the ensuing police chase, Neo does something weird. Maybe he does the jump that Trinity does, or he gets shot but the bullet doesn't hit him when it clearly should have hit him. Something to suggest that Neo is discovering his powers. Compromise, Neo tries going into hiding, possibly into a safe house or a fellow hacker friend. He gets the Morpheus phone call but doesn't take it seriously. Everywhere Neo goes, the phones around him ring and it's always Morpheus trying to call out to him. Neo finally gives in and agrees to meet up in that nightclub to see Trinity, and instead of having some creepy conversation where she's all like, "I know what you do every night at your computer," we'll insert the fight scene from the original beginning in here as policemen storm the nightclub. It will be a much better way for Trinity to introduce herself to Neo, under pressure during a fight scene. And Neo runs off against Trinity's wishes, the agents catch him, and then they do that weird bug thing and reset his day, and Neo wakes up thinking this was all a dream and he goes back to work. So we still have the going to work scene. Then the movie picks up more or less how it is already.
I feel like it would give us so much more of Neo's character and what his life was really like. Here's the big question. Would it have been different if Will Smith was Neo? Because Will Smith was first considered to be Neo. That could have been totally different. Will Smith plays a different kind of character. I honestly can't imagine Will Smith being as stoic as Keanu Reeves is in Neo. And I don't know if they also had someone else in mind for Trinity besides Carrie-Anne Moss. So I don't know how Will Smith and Carrie-Anne Moss would have combined together. I don't know, really. I mean, is it really Keanu Reeves' fault that Neo has no personality? I mean, you've seen John Wick. I mean, hopefully you've seen John Wick. John Wick has a personality. The whole general atmosphere of The Matrix is that it's relatively serious. If you remember when he goes to the architect, there's all those TV screens, and all those TV screens show different emotions of Neo. You know, you have like him laughing. There's ones where he's like, you know, really angry and he's flipping the camera off and stuff like that. I want to see that. I want to see that Neo. I want to see Neo flipping the shit. Like just being like, fuck this, fuck you, you know, you're not in control of my life. I want to see that Neo. And I'm pretty sure Keanu Reeves could do that. Maybe that would have been it. Maybe what if Neo was an asshole? Like, what if Neo was the kind of guy who, like, gave backhanded comments at, like, his coworkers and his boss?
Yeah. Wow, that sounds like a really good deal. But I think I got a better one. How about I give you the finger, and you give me my phone call?
Mr. Anderson.
You know, because if we want to keep the theme of Neo not liking Destiny, maybe he's kind of like an asshole at work. You know, instead of the whole cliche, oh, everything's boring at work, what if he's just an ass? Like, what if he's just like, screw everything, you know, fuck the man? And that would set up this whole beautiful story arc of him eventually learning to give in. Because, you know, there's still, like I said in the good stuff, like I love how the whole thing is about him learning to give in. You know, he goes from this character who said he doesn't want to accept destiny to him saying, you know, you were right, it was inevitable. But we don't really see that in between. We have the beginning and the end, but we don't see it really fleshed out. Like, when he was in limbo in the Matrix Revolutions, he just sat there and was like, okay, I guess I gotta go to the Machine City and like fight Machine God or whatever. That's not really a good way to convey a character's feelings and emotions. You're literally having him as a puppet being like, okay, now I do this, now I do that, the end. There's no passion or feeling in it.
And that's a wrap. Holy shit, I finally finished this discussion on the Matrix trilogy and why I thought it was underrated and what made it good and bad. It had some of the freshest ideas in Hollywood, and it's a shame because we rarely see something so groundbreaking and experimental these days that also becomes really popular. Unfortunately, it got lost in its own experimenting and fell flat in some areas. Nevertheless, I still get a kick out of it, and I love it. Oh, and one more thing that I thought was bad. That was just really stupid.